This country starts early. It works hard. It stays focused. It keeps moving. It stands ready. And it carries the weight. Strong coffee for a strong nation.
All right, here we go. Merlin's in the chat on Rumble, but he hadn't popped in yet. Oh, well, he'll be here in just a second. Welcome to another Beyond the Possible, which our guest is running a little late, but that's okay. But we have another guest. We got Olga here, going to come talk to us. First timer for this kind of thing, so that's going to be fun.
I'm new to this, so.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, we all started somewhere.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
all started somewhere. I'm trying to make Rumble work. We'll see how that goes. It's gonna suck my feelings again if it don't work, but drive me crazy. Drive me
Yeah,
crazy.
I
During
love
the day, it
technology.
does great, but at nighttime, I guess it gets so overloaded at nighttime. But uh, James, how are you doing this evening?
I'm okay. Glad to be here. And yeah, it's I had a show I had to cancel the other day myself because the platform I used to record on, Discord, was not picking up my audio at all. So I hear you. You know, as far as tech issues go.
It, well,
So
maybe
I had to record
it
the
might
show
have
on
finally
Friday
took off.
instead.
It might have just took off. Let's see. Well, is it working? No. It shows it is over here. It shows over here like it's working, but now over here it does not show it working. Oh, there it goes. It's working. Yay! The Rumble gods have been nice to me. Uh, only 7 minutes in. Yay!
About time.
Yep. Now we just need Merlin to pop in. Hopefully his link is working. It should. Um, Olga,
Mm-hmm.
I was like you said, while we're waiting on Merlin to get here, let's see
Mm-hmm.
what's going on that. You said you had looked into, cult stuff and paranormal and what all, have you done any ghost hunting or anything like that before? Or?
No, I'm not ghost hunt. No, haven't done that. No, I've studied. I mean, it's a long, long story. I don't even see. That's my first time here. I don't know if we discuss a particular subject or we just talk about everything, a little bit of everything at the time.
I
So I don't
I
wanna.
wing it. I wear a little bit of everything all the time. Yeah, we kind of wing it. That's my
Yeah.
style.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I've learned a lot. I've experienced a lot. I've experimented a lot. I'd say my thing, what I studied mostly is astral projection.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've heard or done or anything like that. That's how I started.
Yeah.
Because I did have, with my life, I had this weird dreams in my life, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Why are my dreams like this? And the here and there. So I started years and years ago. I started meeting people who been talking about this crazy thing that I've never knew about. Astral project. What the hell is astral projection? I've met personally several people who been traveling out of body for years. One of them was a girl who started doing it since she was 14. Now she's about 32.
Hmm.
And the things that I learned and things just from them, things that been told, and not only from particular girl. There were other people who not even related to this person. Because I'm from Russia originally, so there are people in Russia, but there's people in America who I met who were saying the same exact thing about what's going on out there, and when you're out of body in astral and on astral plane. So of course that got me interested, and I'm like, what is that? I'm like, do I really need to believe this? What the hell's going on? So I got into all kind of studies then. That's what brought me into studying all these things. And
That's
I've
cool.
I've read I've read different things, white book, I've investigated a lot, and a lot of things made sense to me. All the questions that I had, I'm like, that kind of makes sense.
Hmm.
So I mean, if you have a particular, it's just a very very big topic.
Yeah.
So
We've got
like,
Merlin. Merlin made it on here.
Yep.
hmm
Can you
And
hear
uh,
me?
and I know James. Just on that subject, I know James has lots of experience and knowledge on that, and I know
hmm
Merlin has lots of knowledge on that too. So, but how are you doing today, Merlin?
Oh, I'm glad to be here. I've got a little glitch you where my headphones keep telling me something's connecting and reconnecting over and over again. But other than that, I don't, long as you don't hear it, it's all good.
Yeah, mine will do that every once in a while. It's mine does it. It's connecting. It's switching between if my phone and my computer is hooked up to them at the same time. They'll switch in between the computer and the phone back and forth. I had to manually go in there and turn my Bluetooth off my phone. So it honestly, I know that's what mine does. So maybe if you got them hooked up to both, that could be a possibility.
Well, I'll unplug my cell phone because my computer doesn't supposed to have Bluetooth.
Oh,
So if
okay.
it's using Bluetooth, it's getting it from the cell phone.
Yeah.
But it is charging my cell phone because I live in a little cabin in the woods, and my cell phone
Oh,
gets no signal unless I boost it with an extra overpowered USB plug.
yeah. I mean, if it's not Bluetooth, then it shouldn't be. I'm not sure.
I unplugged the cell phone and it stopped, so that was it. You called it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I've learned one a thing or two over the years.
hmm
It just started as soon as I started connecting to the system, and then I'm like, what the heck?
It happens. It happens. But yeah, you got appreciate you able to come back on again. When we talked about it the other day about you coming back on, and should be fun. And
I hope you
any
guys are willing to hear about my childhood travels into other dimensions.
yeah, yeah.
And
sure.
it's gets kind of worse because I ended up with proof that I went to another dimension because in 2013 I got really sick from a never seen before liver parasite I picked up. It wouldn't couldn't be cultured outside the body because it needed psionic energy. As soon as it got so many feet away from me, it just died. So they kept getting samples of dead parasites. But they
Mm.
verified I had a parasite in my liver, and it made me very, very, very sick in 2013. And they asked me, "What did you travel?" And I said, "Define travel." And they said, "By plane, train, or automobile." And I looked at them and says, "Nope." But as a kid, I went to 5 different worlds, and it was quite an experience. The first one I ever stepped into, I saw this fuzziness in space. You know how you see heat rising and it creates these waves?
hmm
This was like this, but it was coming around a center point and it was hovering above the ground. Okay. I walked up to it and I was born different. Like I could feel subtle energy or psychic energy, or well, in this case, we'll call it psionic. So just to keep it psi energy, okay? Just to keep it simple, you can use whatever term you want, but I need to define that term. So I used this psionic energy to pry open the portal, and I saw, or this fuzziness, and I saw a world on the other side. So I stepped through it, and I
hmm
walked around the world, and I looked up and saw 2 moons, and I grabbed a leaf off a tree and I exited. That's all I did. Wasn't there for more than like a couple minutes. And as I exited, there was snow on the ground where there was no snow. It was the fall when I did this, but no snow. Apparently, I was gone a week and some.
hmm
My
Wow.
parents were freaked out and they asked me where I'd been. And I said, I pointed back. I said, I looked at my tracks, and you could see my tracks came from nothing. And I said, just look at my tracks. And they says, what that they look they stuttered and said, but that doesn't. And I said, look, I got this. And they smacked the leaf out of my hand, and I watched it hit the snow. It made an imprint on the snow, and then kind of vanished as it returned back to its own world.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Have you,
yeah.
sorry, have you ever been able to go back voluntarily, or that just something happened to you and you can't do it no more?
Okay, I'll explain. I went later on. I found I could use mirrors because those
Mm-hmm.
fuzzy portals are unstable, and that's one of the dangers of the fuzzy portals. They are very unstable.
Mm-hmm.
But I later on learned to use. We had this mirror in our. We had this kind of like a storeroom in our house where we stored all the cans and stuff. And we had this old mirror with a silverback lining there, and I
Mm-hmm.
found that I could put that same energy into the mirror, and it would connect to another mirror in another world.
Mm-hmm.
So I always ended up in a world with air because somebody had a mirror there. You see.
Mm-hmm.
And out of one of the trips, I exited the mirror and I noticed there was a crack on the bottom of the mirror I exited, but it had gems and it was really beautiful mirror, eh? And like it had a crack and a piece missing on the bottom. And I was in a castle of something like it's made of stone, must have been a castle as far as I can tell. And I looked out the window and I saw these creatures that actually were carrying a scimitar. Had a one of them had a red sash on it, and they were
Mm-hmm.
crows. They were crows.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, I didn't do any reading of sci-fi or stuff like that. But later
Mm-hmm.
on, I found that it matched pretty close to the Japanese version of these. What is it, Tanga, or Tongo, or whatever? There's a Japanese have a legend of such a creature, but in the Japanese legend, they were wearing these little square hats on their head. But these things had just a standard comb on their head, like an ordinary bird does. But they had
Mm.
a sword. Can you imagine a bird with a sword and it stood about 3.5 feet tall?
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then one of the trips, exited it. I was in an old farmhouse, I guess. It's stone walls, and I heard noise, and I looked out the window, and I saw this farmer, human farmer. So some of these worlds have humans, and but he was fighting with these green-skinned humans that are only about 2.5 feet tall, and they unlike later on I saw in books where people call them goblins as the
Right.
closest description, but they didn't weren't quite goblins. They didn't have loincloths on. They just let it all hang out. So
Wow.
unlike the fantasy ideas, they did not wear loincloths, and they were seriously hurting the farmer, and I imagine he wouldn't survive it. And I picked a white stone off the table. It was a nice polished round stone, and I picked it up and I walked through the portal with it, and I still have it around here today. But here's the fun part: it slowly turned brown.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the reason for that, it took me a lot of searching, and I think it is because each dimension has different laws of physics.
Yeah.
Okay, and because of the different laws of physics that are experienced in these different realms, um, that stone was one type of element and was brought here. It slowly shifted to our realm and it changed to a brownish color. Before it had a white silver color.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Oh yeah,
But
and
have
yeah.
so do you have that ability to just travel out of your body voluntarily every anytime you just want, or
Okay,
it just
uh,
happens
I can.
spontaneously?
We'll get to that in a minute. If you
Mm-hmm.
those trips were actual body transfer.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't spiritual. I actually took my whole body with me. That's like,
What?
yes, I found a way to permeate time and space and physically travel to another world. I brought flashlight
Wow.
with I brought a flashlight with me and I never used it. The batteries were brand new and I went to turn it on a couple weeks later, the batteries were dead. So the trips kill the batteries. Okay? I'm not sure why.
Wow.
Could be the laws of
That's
physics.
something new.
Yeah,
I've never even met nobody
5
like
trips.
that. Mm-mm.
Oh, the thing is, the most of these strange encounters, like the Hat Man
Mhm.
and a bunch of other things, they're interdimensional creatures. Now, I
Mhm.
learned that there are those with bodies and those without bodies. Okay, it was years later after I quit my dimensional traveling, I ran into this wolf, and I was with two friends at a birthday party. It was my 11th birthday party, and they froze like statues, and they're staring at this wolf with yellow eyes. And I watched as it walked through a tree. It had no physical body, and me and it had a stare down, and all of a sudden it went yay 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 and took off. And I asked my friends what they felt, and they said they felt extreme fear, but they couldn't remember the wolf.
Mhm.
Right? And I'd seriously injured it in that fight, mental fight. And years later, I was at a UFO conference as an adult, and I'm talking to outside of it, just talking to people going in, and I asked 10 people, sorry, about the wolf with yellow eyes. 9 of them remembered it and said, "Oh, that was something I made up to account for the UFO abduction."
Yeah, that's there's a lot of what we can or can't process, and that makes sense.
And you see, the wolf with yellow eyes, they're all over the place, and they feed off of emotions to survive.
Right.
Mhm.
I used to do a lot of writing in bars, and I'd sip on 7 Up and lime because I don't like the taste of alcohol. Like the first drink tastes okay, second drink tastes like tree sap, and the third drink just tastes disgusting. That's the way my body reacts to it, anyways. And I'm watching this guy sitting there, and he's all talking friendly with his friends, and I saw this blob that looked like an amoeba, but it was shaped, and it moved into moved into his head, slams down his drink, and just slugs his buddy. And
Yeah.
that, and I also went and looked at homes that where there's a lot of abuse going on. And I used to do purification type things. And I went to this one house immaculately clean. I couldn't find the van keys. I looked where the van keys were supposed to be, and I saw this blob covering the keys. And I reached through it. I couldn't even see the keys through this thick blob, and I reached through it knowing the keys were there. I pulled it out, and I could feel the disgusting stuff on my of the blob on my fingers. And I showed them, these
Mhm.
it. They said, yeah, oh yeah. They both had just looked in that container and couldn't see it. And you see, those creatures hide stuff from people so that they can feed off their emotions. So if you're ever
Mhm.
in a place where people are losing stuff and getting upset over it, just take a breath, don't get upset over it, and don't feed those creatures.
Mhm.
And if you can actually pull on happy emotions, I had one until I got my first ex that but that's another story. Where I would keep happy emotions, and one day I sat up. Where are my shoes? And I said it out loud, and I sat down on my shoes. You can't tell me I was sitting on my shoes the whole time. And I called it. I nicknamed it Fetch, and it lived off of happy emotions, not unlike the other ones that live off negative emotions. And well, of course, when my ex moved, when my now ex, when she moved in, it she was very negative prone and hated everything in the world, and it kind of fled, if you know what I mean. So,
I ha- I have. mm, now. I'm not gonna speak for myself because I have never reached that state, even where I could leave my body voluntarily,
hmm
unless it's now. I've done different practices. I've learned how to provoke dreams that I want to see. I've learned how to wake up where I wanted to wake up in my dream. I've
you want
learned
to?
how to I've learned how to control them somewhat. I've been doing it for several years, and before I stopped my job and everything, a lot of things changed. But it doesn't mean that I still don't have crazy dreams. But yeah,
Olga,
I've learned.
would you like to?
Yeah,
Would you like to learn?
I would love to.
I'll give you a
Yeah, I would
simple
love
exercise.
to.
I'll give you a simple exercise. Get yourself a candle, and preferably, it's
Mhm.
best to be black, not because of magic per se, but it's because the candle disappears. Where a white candle
Mhm.
will light up, the white will light up. You don't want you want just the flame, and the candle has to disappear in the darkness.
Mhm.
And you just focus on the flame in a complete darkness, and you project your mind as if you're dancing inside that flame, and you just keep projecting until you feel yourself dancing inside it. And eventually the flame will start to move to your desire, and that's when you're starting to project your thought into the world. And then after
I've
that,
done, yeah,
you're
I've done different practices, and the only
mm-hmm,
one that was actually working the best for me was visualizing. I guess that's the way I'm made. I'm a painter. I
mm-hmm,
paint. So I visualize things. I
mm-hmm,
have to have my eyes closed and I can visualize. So I don't work with nothing but just with my vision. So I would pretend like, for example, a heavy, cold or hot,
mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm,
know, as object is rolling down my body and I can feel the weight, and you just kind of
mm-hmm,
really visualize it back and forth for me to reach the state of numbness. I've done
mm-hmm.
this. The thing is, like, once you get to vibrations and once you start feeling all these vibrations, that's the moment where you have to pull yourself out. And I cannot, I, there's either one or two. Is I either gonna fall asleep or I'm going to get really irritated. So irritated that I want to punch somebody.
Okay, pulling yourself out of your body is it can be trained by the flame. That's called the old technique calls it groking. You actually
Mm-hmm.
learn to control flame, and you learn to project your mind into something. And the reason I suggest start with mind projection is it's a lot safer because leaving your body can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read my book, probably not. It talks about something called time diving,
No.
and I would come back from time diving and I'd literally hurl like because my body just didn't feel right. And I found out why when I got my when I was with my ex there. I did a time dive, and she was panicking because she realized she woke up and found that my heart had stopped as far as she was concerned, and my body was cold, and she
Mm-hmm.
thought I died, and yet I was literally projecting myself through time. Okay, so I learned how to ask to project not two places, but two places through time, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to how I learned that. And how I learned it, let's see, it'd be on my third trip through the mirror. I ended up in this room that I would have to call the control center or the corridor, and it showed like this information download from it. I can't remember everything because my brain went hazy after. But I learned that imagine this: our realm is sitting in little. I call them realms. They're sitting in little tiny a stream bobbing up and down. And there's other little balls bobbing up and down, and there are other realms. But now, here's where it
Mm-hmm.
gets complicated. Our realm has multiple layers, which we call dimensions. Okay? And each
Mm-hmm.
realm is separate and has their own infinite number of dimensions around it, like an onion. And each realm is located in a time flow, and each realm has their own different laws of physics.
Yeah.
So realms and planes are two different things in my definition, and the transdimensional creatures are coming from our realm that we see here.
Mm-hmm.
To travel
Yeah.
across from one realm to the other is very hard, and I wasn't dimensional traveling; I was realm traveling,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why each world I went to had different laws of physics, had different time flows, had different everything.
Yeah.
And I found sometimes if I went upstream, I found time flowed faster. And if I went downstream, time flowed slower because I had a wind up watch with on that I had. It was given to me as a kid, and I wore that. It was this little kind of a reddish pink. It turned pink over time, but there's a red band on it, a little tiny Mickey Mouse thing. You crank it and to wind it up. And I had that through the travels, and that watch has been to 5 different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
But each trip it got harder to get back and harder to go. And the reason for that is I got this psychic parasite that I was unaware of, and it's made it
Yeah.
harder and harder and harder to.
Yeah. Many people get that.
No, 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 no. I'm talking. Let's put it this way: it was like living with weights on your psychic abilities. And
Mm-hmm.
when they finally got rid of it and removed it, it was like all the weights had gone off. My perception before was getting duller and duller because of the parasites, but after they removed it, I walked into the bank and I said, looked at a lady, and she had this looked like she was wearing this black shawl over her body of energy. And I said, "You're
Mm-hmm.
feeling depressed?" And she says, "Yeah, how'd you know? I'm trying to hide it." And I just went like that with my hand, and all of a sudden I just scattered the depression into dust. And she says, "Wow, I don't feel depressed anymore." And
Mm-hmm.
that, I didn't actually intend it to that. I just thought I'd just comfort her a bit, but it scattered it instantly. And
Mm-hmm.
my energy levels went, I mean, absolutely to insane levels. I reached levels I never even dreamed of reaching when I was younger because the parasite kept holding me back. It acted as a wall. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I could feel these walls, James, that felt I couldn't go past them. I tried and tried, and sometimes I'd break through one wall, but I'd find another one. But now I've been busting through walls like no tomorrow. The only side effect is if I bust through too many, my body starts to break down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, let me tell you one thing about it's about this person. Her name is Olga, by the way, too. But she's been it's been open to her since she was 14, and she was doing that for so long. It's hard for her to explain things to me the way I would understand, but this is the crazy thing she was telling me. Now, how do you look at it? How do y'all look at it? The she's first thing she said that demons were the first creatures that were created in this world before humans, way before even dragons, whatever. So angels are the one who took the good side. Well, of course, I'm a Christian person, and I believe in angels are the ones who are by God's side. You know what I mean? So, but by her words, no, they're high demons. That's what she called them, high demons. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and they did not have no good, no bad side. They had no choice at all between good and bad. There was no thing like that with good and bad. Until the chaos, until a harmony got ruined or destroyed. And that's we're talking. Let's talk about Bible a little bit here, right? When Satan uh just had one thought about having powers of God, he got kicked out of paradise,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of angels followed him. So pretty much, she is telling me pretty much the same story, but in different words. And she's been telling me this thing. She said, humans are humans. There's humans and they're um, beings, or not beings, essences or spirits. So if you are human, you will not. You're just a human. You die. You will disintegrate. You'll go down and merge with Earth. If you're a spirit, you will be somebody else, or you have past lives and all this stuff. That's what she's telling me. So she said she was a high demon. Okay, that's what she was telling me. She said, "I'm a high demon. I've always been a high demon." She's and the astral projection is not just something that you just close your eyes and you're somewhere else. No, it's a lot bigger than that. Astral is, if you imagine that there is no multiple realities, there's just one big reality, and it's the way you perceive it. And if your body is physical, so you're only gonna perceive it on physical level, because your body vibrates with the same frequency as any physical object and anything else. So your hearing is gonna be physical. You're gonna hear everything with the same amount of hertz. Now you change that hertz, you change that vibration just 1 point up or down, it'll become non-existent to you. So, but if you train yourself to actually perceive these things, you don't have to just go out of the body. You're there. You see things. You see things. You hear things. You're there. You pretty much having another set of eyes. You see everything on a physical level. You see anything on non-physical levels. You know what I mean?
Hey,
You know,
Olga.
if you see what I'm trying to tell you.
Olga.
So that's how she was. That's how she was. She could
Oh,
literally communicate with spirits. She could literally see
mhm.
things. And she's like, I'm a high demon.
Hey,
She
Olga.
presented herself that way. And she said that I'm one of the most ancient creatures.
Hey,
And
Olga.
yeah.
Hey, Olga.
Mm-hmm.
Olga, have you heard the story of the four blind men and the elephant?
No.
You see, humans on Earth are like the four blind men, and the
Mm-hmm.
universe and God is like the elephant to the four blind men. One blind man had the ear of the elephant and said, "Oh, this I got a hold of a flat piece. So this is what the God is like, a flat sheet." And the other had the trunk and said, "Oh, this the God is like a long trunk." Another one says, "No, you're wrong. God is thin and narrow like a," and because he had a hold of the tail. And another one says, "Oh, you're all wrong. God is thick like a," because he had like a tree trunk because he had a hold of the elephant's leg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is many of the pictures that we see about reality is
Mm-hmm.
limited by our perception. So your statement about her raising frequencies is half right and half wrong. And what I mean by that is it's not raising your frequency, it's expanding your frequency. If you move up and ignore the lower half, you have now ceased to pay attention to the other part of reality and are focusing on another part of the reality. What you have to do is
Mm-hmm.
expand your frequency range and not move your frequency up. Expand
Mm-hmm.
your consciousness, expand your mind, expand your awareness. And
Okay.
as for talking to spirits, I see spirits as blobs of energy. I know they exist. I can actually destroy them, or I can disperse them, or whatever you want to call them, if they're evil. And I've been asked by many people to confirm because their kid was talking to an imaginary friend, and each of the time I checked, the kid was talking to some blob of energy, and I told the parent where the blob of energy was. That they went and asked the kid, and the kid points right to the same spot I described it as. So,
Mm.
and a lot of times these imaginary friends will turn hostile when the kid starts losing the ability to see them, because the imaginary friend
Mm-hmm.
was enjoying the time with the kid and is losing that time with the kid, so they can sometimes lose their cool over it. But they're the closest I've seen to intelligent non corporeal creatures. Most of the non corporeal creatures aren't very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
As for high demons, I don't know if you want me to explain it because it'll really rough up your day. Because I was showing how the
No, it's
universe
all
was created.
right. Yeah, I'm learning new things. I mean,
Okay, Ricky, can you ask people who are viewing to put one in the chat if they want me to explain how I was showing the universe was created? I could be wrong, but because I'm just one of the blind men grabbing the elephant. But if enough of the chat says so, I'll explain it. If they don't, well, maybe it's best left unsaid.
No, all right. Well, I'm sure they heard you, so we'll see what the chat say. James, you got anything to add to any of this? You know, you've been quiet.
Not too much. Yeah, no, not too much. Just a great conversation. My view on a lot of things is that we all have different names and different ways of thinking of things, and so
yeah.
my view on all this is I just don't know. I don't know what all this is, but just that it is there. So and so I don't discount what anyone says, especially when I've heard similar things before.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like Mike Strange says all the time. We're here just asking questions, and we're not answers. You know, a lot of times it's just asking questions, and I know that's what you know. You and me on the same boat a lot of times. We both, you know, we're just, you know, we know there's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of things we don't understand, um, and some things I truly believe we're not meant to understand. You know, there's certain things until you get to a certain point that that's when you're able to understand.
Right.
But you know, like I said, anything is possible. As the show says,
Yep.
Hiker and Sweets gives a one in the Rumble. So
Well,
you want to talk some
There we
Merlin
go.
or
sure. I'll explain what I was showing. I was
also we
showing.
got about an hour.
Mhm.
Trouble Minds. He will do a show tonight, so we will be cutting at 9 for Trouble Minds. But we got an hour and 20 minutes, so we got plenty of time. But just
Oh, cool.
heads up.
So Rick, I was showing this plane of pure white energy or light energy and a plane of pure shadow energy, and I got to rephrase that shadow energy. If you take it into the real world, it actually eats light, so it actually looks like a light but glows in reverse. Okay, so it's not what you think when you see a shadow cast on the ground. This stuff literally devours light. And I saw these two planes colliding, and they created the mid plane. Okay, and it turns out when you take pure light energy and that pure shadow or darkness, and you combine them together, you can literally create matter at the moment of their combination. Okay, so each of them had very little intelligence when they combined, but when they combined, they became super intelligence. So there's the prime of light, the prime of darkness, and then there's a the prime of what we can call shadow, the midline between the two. And all life is linked to the prime of shadow, and through that we're linked to the prime of darkness and the prime of light. Now, in the prime of darkness, there was, as your friend said, nothing but what people call demons. They're not exactly demons, but we'll use the term demons. And the prime of light, there was something in there that some people call angels, but tell you something, those things can be very vicious and very, very evil doing things sometimes. So each side can do good and each side can do evil. So that's why I don't like to use the terms of good and evil to either the light or the darkness, okay? And the shadow lane is a balance between the two. And sometimes they literally wage wars there. Does that make sense to you all?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, seems possible.
Yeah.
It's just what I was shown, and this doesn't discount anything in the Bible. This doesn't toss anything out. It's just a more detailed explanation of how let there be light, and hey, there was all of a sudden light. Let there be this, and all of a sudden there was this. It's more detailed mechanics of how it all happened.
Yeah, I mean, opposites and like that, and that makes sense that there'd be opposites that then combine to make something different, and
Hmm.
um, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, and
Mm-hmm.
as I promised to talk of my dimensional travels, I'll tell you my last one, and I'm going to make this one a little drag it out a little bit here. I had worked on the mirror, and my energy at the time of working on the mirror, the hole would open up and it'd start to close, and I'd fight it. And finally, I got it fully open, and I saw this room with a lit torch in it. So once I got it fully open, I stepped through it, and I looked in the room, and the door was bolted from the inside. The torch was there was a lit torch, but it wasn't putting out smoke like a normal torch should. I looked around the room, and I saw a book sitting in front of another mirror, smaller mirror, and a casket in the corner. And I'm like, what the heck? And I thought, I better get out of here. So I grabbed the book, and I just had to put minimal energy into it because the thing hadn't closed. Because the longer you wait, as it closes, it becomes harder to open. So the thing hadn't closed very much, and I jetted through it with the book in hand. But when the book hit my energy field, the energy around the book was incompatible. And I can still remember the texture of that book because when I picked it up, it had a gem in the center, and it felt like it had a heartbeat. It was the creepiest book ever, and the book wouldn't come through the mirror. Instead, the mirror shattered and bloomed out like almost like a flower. But I just as I exited, I looked back at the mirror, glad my hand was intact, and I looked at the mirror and I saw yellow eyes in each fragment, a broken fragment of the mirror, and it sent the
Mm.
creeps down me. Like I normally didn't feel fear that easily. That time I felt mega fear. That was my
Yeah,
last trip.
I've had experiences like that. Now, I don't know. You might explain it to me because the first one that actually caused the fear like that, like you had, was it started with a dream before actually something happened. It was a dream, and I believe I don't remember how old I was, but I mean it was in my early maybe 20s or something like that. But I was in a plane, so I was flying over country somewhere. I don't know. No, it was actually when I was still in Russia. I never experienced airplane flight ever. I remember that. Yeah. So my imagination of an airplane was totally different how it actually was. So, so I was in an airplane. I was with my sister, and there were tons of people, and there was like a room. There's a big room. It was like a warehouse little room. There was nobody there. So me and my sister decided to spend some time there, just me and her, away from people. And there was windows, those round windows like airplanes had, and all of a sudden we started feeling jerking. So then we started hearing something coming out, of speakers saying that, we are falling. The airplane is crashing and we are falling. I It's another story. I'm not gonna say it here, but yeah, I used to fly in my dreams since I was probably in ninth grade, and every dream I had when I was flying, it was like a continual story. And I learned how to fly. And the next dream, I'm like, oh, how did I do it last time? So I knew how to fly in my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, I gotta have to save me and my sister. That's what I'm thinking. So I broke the window and I grabbed my sister, and I was like, we have to fly, but I can't hold her. She was too heavy for me, and I couldn't fly with her. It would drag us both down.
Hmm.
So I left her. And I would never forget. I would never forget any detail of that dream. That's when it was go. That's what when it went from a dream to something different. Okay, I jumped out and I flew away. And the airplane probably was so up high in the sky that I don't know. I found myself. I don't know. It was like the gravity. It wouldn't drag me down anymore. Like the gravity wouldn't hold me. I was pulled by a universe, so it was pulling me up. And the way I was flying is just a dog, like a dog, like this. Like, come on, go back, go back, go back. I can't go back. I'm too weak for that. So it drags me up in the sky. So all I see is the earth slowly becoming smaller, smaller, smaller. It turns into a little bitty ball. I can see from seeing rivers and oceans. Now I see just lines. So there you go. I'm up in the universe, up there in cosmos, in the dark, and the earth disappeared completely. I don't see it anymore at all. It's gone. All I see, I don't even see stars. I don't know, they're probably too far away. I don't know. I don't even see them. I don't see no light. There's nothing but darkness, and the only light I see is around me. My
Mm-hmm.
hands. I lift my hands up like this, and I see like little bitty shiny light around my fingers, and it's like contouring me. You know what I mean? Like underlying me. That's it. That's all I see. My heart. I mean, I thought I died. That's exactly what I thought. I can't explain my fears, what I felt at this moment. It's just, it was horrible.
You
I
felt
didn't know what to do. I was
you felt cut
lost.
off
I'm
from the whole
gone.
world. You felt cut off from the whole world, didn't you?
Yes.
And you couldn't feel anyone else in the whole world, couldn't you? You felt like you were alone.
Mm,
Everyone else vanished. Correct?
yes.
Okay.
And it's not just that I wasn't feeling about connection. It's like I don't know if I was thinking about it at the moment.
No, I know exactly where you went, and you were astral traveling, but you got yourself messed up in something called I call the shadow plane. I've learned how to enter it physically. When I was a kid, I used to play hide and seek, and I could step into the shadow realm, but you have to hold your breath because there's no air there. And
Yeah.
your phenomena, looking at how your body glows, yes, that's exactly how it works in the shadow realm. It's like somebody's got a highlighter on your body. There's no light there. There's nothing there. You're absolutely nothing in the universe. But if you keep your perception secured and your idea locked on where you want to be, you exit at that point that you were looking at before. So I could
And I
jump into
did.
and I could jump into it and exit where I wanted to be, but I had to do line of sight. If I didn't know about it, I couldn't go there because if I couldn't see it, I couldn't get there. You see what I'm saying? But I could
Yeah.
look at a point, fixate on it, enter the shadow realm, and exit right there. and it was great.
Yeah.
I used it to play hide and seek as a kid because I thought nothing of it. You know what I mean? I didn't realize how
Yeah.
dangerous and deadly it is.
Yeah. Once you realize it, yeah, you will see a lot of danger, and it's so yeah, but it didn't end on that though. I
Hmm.
didn't know how long I'm gonna be like this. I wanted to get out of this. There's no way possible I could see. I don't know. I can't explain how long in my mind I was in there
Because you can't.
until I finally started seeing the dot.
Time
And I'm
doesn't
thinking
exist.
it's the earth. So I'm seeing that dot in the darkness again. So
What
I'm
color was the
swimming,
dot?
huh?
What color was the dot? This is very important. What color was the dot?
Well, in the beginning, it wasn't a particular color to it until I started swimming or flying closer to it. It was purple. It was like it's not in purple. It was. Have you seen like smoky, purplish, grayish mountains that has
Yeah.
like a little purple kind of
Was it
background to it?
was it a good type of
That's how.
purple? Or did it look a dirty type of purple?
Yeah, dirty, dusty purple. That's what it was.
Ah, okay. That's
But I did get. Look. I was flying towards it. I was thinking it's Earth. I was not thinking about nothing else. And when I got into it, it was not Earth. It was nothing but. So it was some kind of planet that had nothing. No green. It was everything that was on it mostly was rock and
hmm
was like purplish, dusty purple rock, grayish, with big, 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 big mushrooms that were like also same color.
remember how
And when I descended, for me to
remember
get down, when I
yeah.
descended on that rock, I had to use these mushrooms to go down. Now you would think that I'm an Alice in Wonderland right there. I never, ever, ever experienced or tried drugs in my life.
Okay,
Because
Olga,
when I talk about this dream or whatever happened to me to people, they think you on drugs. And no, no.
Olga,
So that was weird.
remember how you said previously that some people perceive reality different? They can look at the exact same thing and see something different. And
Yeah.
what happened is you were that reality that you saw was not really that. As far as I can tell, because when you go into the shadow realm, and the only light that you can see is actually traveling inwards into your own inner soul light. So for me, it was
Mm-hmm.
this metallic baby blue color, and it
Uh-huh.
was pulsing. It pulses, and as I went into it, that was my inner soul light. And you were chance you would manifested a dirty purple inner soul light world, and that was the world, your inner world that you create and view and harbor your thoughts, and it's where your soul resides. And that's how you manage to get back after going to that. It's because
Mm-hmm.
the problem with the shadow realm is if you get lost in there without a proper connection to your body, you can you can lose you begin to lose yourself, because time and that doesn't matter. Space is completely fluctuating in there, and time itself is irrelevant. And you could have completely forgotten, if you stayed there too long, forgotten who and what you are.
Mm-hmm.
It would completely rip you of all thoughts, and you'd be devoid of who you are and what you are. And but you were able to return based on your soul light. And yeah, that's sounds like you're describing your inner soul world, because that's what
Mm-hmm.
I've been to the shadow plane, and it, like I said, it at first I thought it was great, and then I learned out how dangerous can be. So hey, Ricky,
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Do you sell those shirts in extra large,
The
or
one I
triple
got
X, I
on.
should say? Huh?
This one here I don't. This is a special like gym shirt, but I do have some shirts in all sizes on the website.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll have
because it's
to.
got a gym logo on there, and it's got that. I actually did this shirt before. I did the start
I
doing the
need the one
podcast.
with that marble.
Yeah, I need to do some more shirts. I talked to a guy the other day about getting some more shirts done for the gym, and then but yeah, this is kind of a dream back in when in my 20s, I think. Yeah, in my 20s, I was sitting there. We were joking with my buddies, and we're like, man, we're gonna make AIP shirts, and we're gonna do all this stuff, and then when I was able to with the and I finally did an AIP shirt, and uh, so it was kind of dream come true on that, and then I started doing the podcast, and now, but yeah, I got lots of different shirts on the site. I don't know if you've been on the site or not and seen all the different shirts on there. I know James got one before, and there's a little bit of everything on there. I've been
Well, I'll order one from you next month. No ands,
okay.
ifs, or buts. I got to
Hi.
get one of those. I like it.
Nice, appreciate it.
Oh, did Olga
Yep.
vanish on us?
No, I'm here.
Oh,
That,
I had to check something on my phone real quick, and
oh.
I'll
oh,
be right
you're okay.
there. I'm listening to y'all though.
So, did you, Ricky, get you a chance to read my book yet? Probably not, eh? It's a
I
Now
have
you
hardcover.
have
not.
to send a link to me or something so I can remember. Cause
Yeah, I'll send you a link, Olga, for you can get his book. It's on
Yeah,
yeah,
Amazon
just
and
send me
stuff.
a link. Yeah,
Yeah, I got
it's
you.
that'll
on
be awesome.
Amazon.
Yeah, it's
Because
on Amazon.
you know who I read before about this. I mean, there were several authors, but the one that I remember was gosh, I don't remember now. Um, let me
Well,
tell you. Just one sec.
I'll, Olga, I'll tell you this. I published the book on December 12th, 2012. And I
Uh-huh.
predicted the pandemic in my book, and to the date and every, or not to the date, to the year, I should say.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not, I shouldn't brag too much, but I also made a whole pile of other predictions in the book, and they have yet to come true. But all the predictions I made up to a certain point, I'm batting 100 so far. I don't know
Hmm.
if I'll be batting 100 in the future, but let's. Well, I don't know, hope to be correct. I actually hope to be wrong.
Hmm.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be interested in reading that. I've read Robert Monroe is who I was reading. He had a
Oh,
trilogy about astral projection trilogy. Yeah.
well, this book is actually based on reality and what could be in our
Hmm.
future based on my time diving. I see time as like a web of possibilities, and I've been trying to figure out how to. I was told as a kid either run above it or hide below it. I had this vision of the future and the destruction of the world, where this device. It was a. I now know what it was. Then I didn't, but now I know it was a stealth atomic bomb that was shaped like a Nerf football, and
Uh-huh.
it could turn the same color as the sky, but it had a glitch just before impact, and it turned black just before impact. And I saw it impact this building that looked like the FCOT Center, but the FCOT Center, when I had my dream, that's how old I am, hadn't been built yet. So. But I saw it impact, and this was somewhere in California so somebody builds a round building there, and I saw this jogger jogging, and the cars were going by with no exhaust, and I see this heat wave hit the jogger, and it instantly fries him, and the shock wave hits, and he's scattered to dust. So when I was forced to go to a Christian camp because I told my mom all these visions, and she figured that would save me. And at camp,
Hmm.
they said that the Christians will vanish, and I kept thinking of that guy vanishing, and I'm like, I don't want to vanish like that. So
Wow.
yeah, it was kind of scary, but
Mm,
the dream kept
yeah, it's
progressing
scary.
and getting longer and longer until the age of 7 when it finished. And in the end, I saw an adult version of myself, and I saw myself looking at the screen, like I saw through my own eyes, looking at these screens with these lights popping up all over the place as nuclear war went off. And in that vision, we were leaving Earth. Now it said either run above it or hide below it. And I started thinking to myself, why not do both? Because on this property, I got a tractor parked on that portal where the palm tree portal was, and it's really wrecking
Hmm.
the tractor because it's aging fast. But I did that to stop the portal from opening. But I think I could probably fix it so I could open it, and people could actually colonize another world. But you'd have to drop your technology because our material science wouldn't work there anymore because the laws of physics change.
Uh-huh.
The other thing I'd like to get off this planet, and I spent my whole childhood researching space tech, so I've got stuff that make Elon Musk weep.
Uh-huh.
I just have to get around to building more of it.
Hmm.
Hey, Olga,
It
just a,
reminded me of something. Have you heard of Brother Strugatsky?
no, I haven't.
Those are Russian uh, writers, and they wrote a book. Let me even tell you the name of the book. If hold on a second.
Yeah, I've had experiences where I've been to other times in dreams,
Hmm.
uh, been to places I'd never been to before, and then went there months or years later in person. Uh, so it's I've never really wanted to try to do anything intentionally, but things just happen,
Hmm.
and so it's been and they still happen here and there. So I've had a lot of experience with that. So I don't doubt when anyone has these experiences.
Well, the time diving was something I did intentionally, but the fact that some days I would end up dreaming of tomorrow, literally, I'd have a dream of what I was going to do the next day, and I'd get up and everything played out like a script. And I was frustrated at the fact that I couldn't change it.
Babe, this. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you right now,
No,
but
that's
I'm
okay, babe.
trying to find out. Yeah, you. Um.
So, James, one of the things
Hmm.
I'd like to do is I'd like to set up, build actually a gated community for mystics who want to come and share knowledge and train and try and amp up their own abilities and also act as a safe haven because I had a vision that there's going to come a time when science proves to the world that we exist. Right now, though, we have plausible deniability shield. But when the day, if my vision's correct, the day that they prove science proves we exist is the day that we become the hunted. If you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'd like to do a safe. I'd like to create a safe community before that happens. So I've been working. That's been what I've been working on in my spare time here right now is trying to find out ways to make that happen.
Right.
Have your own Professor X home
Yeah.
for your
Yeah.
children. That'd be pretty cool.
There you
Well,
go.
technically I could do it, but technically I'd probably end up dead because Satoshi willed me his computer before after he died. His father brought it to me, so technically I have the money, but I don't think I checked. I don't think I could cash it.
I bet.
Also, you
Yeah.
don't want to be Xavier. That was one messed up guy.
Oh, I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to be that. I don't want to be that. I just want to protect. I don't want to save the world. I want to protect my own people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest of the world can do what they want. I believe in. I'm a free will absolutist. If the rest of the world wants to do something bad, go ahead and do it. Just don't do it around me.
Right.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
explain that. I'm a free will absolutist. If you know what that means.
Yeah, I had to search, and I'm sorry, guys. Yes. Have you heard about Brother Strugatsky? So those the two brothers, Russian writers, and they wrote this book about Chernobyl and whatever happened to it. They describe everything in that book,
Oh.
and I believe it's called Roadside Picnic. Yeah, it was predicted way before that happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you actually read that book, they made PC games about it, and
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, and because everything that happened in that book pretty much happened, during the
Hey, Olga,
Chernobyl.
you know
Yeah,
Chernobyl wasn't an accident, right?
a lot of things are not an accident. I believe in that for
Okay.
sure. Just like that COVID, the pandemic COVID. Did,
Yeah.
did
That
you
was
know that
planned.
one of the rapper predicted it about 13 years before that happened? He
I also,
actually, yeah,
I also predicted it in my book in 2012, December 12th. I published it just to
yeah,
prove that I didn't because if I published it after, it'd be too late. So I published it before that, and I
yeah.
got
I gotta read your book for
oh yeah,
sure.
you'll love it. It predicts it in a roundabout way. Not I'm very careful not to be too direct because I didn't want people using it as a a plan for evil. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I made a lot of predictions in the book, and I talk about three different pathways we can go down. And my
Mhm.
visions don't act. When I was younger, I'd see stuff happening, and they'd happen. And it wasn't
Mhm.
until I got more advanced in it that I learned to see pathways, other possibilities that can be done.
Mhm.
Like, for example, the current vision that I had showed that if showed two pathways, and I know you don't like politics, but I'll just give you the vision, not the politics. If the midterms go great for Trump, the world will slowly get better. If things go bad for Trump, the world will get even worse. And so expect everything to go
Mhm.
really bad in about 10 to 8 years, and I mean really bad. So that's what the vision showed me: two different possibilities, and it
Mhm.
shows a chain like event that goes on, like one thing leads to another, to another, to another, and it showed me how it
Mhm.
all chains together. So,
Mhm.
and for the record, I don't like nor hate Trump. He just is what he is.
Yeah.
So,
That many of us.
and I
I,
predicted
I
Trump. I
I don't
predicted.
like or hate nobody really. I mean, we all have our own.
I
I
told
mean,
the
we all
writer.
have goods and bads, and
I told the writer of Simpsons in 1992 about how Trump would win the election and what would follow afterwards. And they said, "Well, we
yeah.
can't say anything good about him, so we're going to have to change some things." And I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm.
gee." So they did change some things, but yeah, I was the one who told them about a bunch of predictions for the future, and they ended up in the shows,
Mm.
which is kind of cool, but also kind of scary how they deliberately twisted them to make them look worse than they really were, or what they really were.
Yeah.
People do that, don't they, Ricky?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Always.
I had
Yeah.
the chat. The chat's room is doing great. Puff said that be interesting to see. What do you think, James? Have Merlin, you, and Jen talking on this subject here. Have a back and forth.
Yeah, I could do that.
It'd be fun to have Jen
Yeah.
in the topics too, and see her who her skew on things too. It'd be interesting.
Hey, Olga, it was a pleasure to meet you here, anyways. And just for the record, a couple of years ago, or it's actually 15 years ago, I had a dream. When you meet an Olga, don't argue with her.
That's right. Oh, I'm very bad. Don't argue with me. You're right about that. Yeah, no, I don't know why I'm so argumentative, but I am, and it's like so hard to control myself. But I mean, I control myself, but I've been a lot worse when I was young. But I don't know what exactly makes me that way. It's just I even know that I'm not right sometimes, or I even know that I don't know if I'm not right or not, but I'm still gonna argue about it. I'm like, stop.
It's all good. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you what the vision told me. I'm not making casting judgments on you. I'm just saying when you see an Olga, it says don't argue with her. You'll
Now
lose
let me tell you
badly.
about one more thing. Like before, I don't know if are you leaving?
No, no, no.
Okay. So I just want to say one more thing that happened to me. And again, it's not a dream because I know what dreams are, and I've had dreams, and I had dreams, all kind of different weird dreams. You know what I mean? I've had sleep paralysis happen to me many, many, many times. Very
Oh,
scary experience. Very scary. I sometimes I still get them very rarely, but it's very rarely. But I used to get them all the time until I've learned how to just face my fears and just go there. And somebody told me if you do that, that will help you leave your body. And and that's just something that you have to face. It actually also this was described in Robert Monroe book. But anyway, that was not a dream. So whatever happened to me one day, it was different. So and I'm just gonna explain you what exactly happened before my opinion on it. But I just woke up like in the middle of the night. I feel comfortable, not that something bothered me. And I feel I open my eyes. It's dark in the room, but I see moonlight through the window. It kind of highlights my blanket. and I'm laying on my side. I feel everything. I've touched my blanket, I'm warm, I'm comfortable. I'm not asleep. I'm completely up, but I can't go back to sleep. But a lot of times it makes me uncomfortable. And if I can't go to sleep, I'm just, I'm miserable. I better get up or something, do something. You know what I mean? But in this situation, I'm just laying there and I'm comfortable. And my dream that I had kind of dissolved into something different. So I guess whatever dream I had before I woke up, it continued in a different form. And if you understand what I'm saying.
I
So I was
understand.
in a castle somewhere. I was in a total different dimension, in a total different place. I was in some castle, and I was walking down the corridor like a hallway, towards the light. It was a window at the end of a hallway, but there were rooms, like hotel rooms, on each side of that hallway. The
Hmm.
very old ancient castle. It was the wooden doors that were really old. I can even tell you right now how those scratches look like. Like those scratches on these doors, I still remember. So I would be walking down this hallway, touching every door, and I would feel all the scratches. I saw a spider web on some of them with the spiders. I just kept walking, touching the stone walls, going back to the next door. But at the same time, and I'm telling you, like the same time, I was awake and I'm right there in my bed. So 100% experiencing two different dimensions, and not just like, oh, I'm gonna close my eyes on this, and oh, I see this instead. No, it's like I said, like I had two sets of eyes that were open at the same time, and now I could touch the doors and memorize all these scratches and do whatever I'm doing there at the same time. I was laying in bed, looking at my blanket, looking at the window, and you know, being awake in my bed.
And Olga, you said you didn't astral travel. That happens to be astral travel, you know.
Yeah. So, and I kind of knew, because somebody already told me that before, but I was like, how do I do it where I always do it? This is just for something that happened to me spontaneously. And it happened to me a couple times like that, but yeah.
That's what the candle training's for, is so that you learn to control it
Okay.
consciously. Otherwise, to you it's happened unconsciously. So you got two choices. Remember how you did it unconsciously, or practice
Uh-huh.
with the candle until you get it correct that way. And it's like you
Okay.
have two set of eyes. One of you is your spirit dancing inside of the candle, and the other is you watching the candle.
Yeah.
And that's when you've got the beginnings of astral travel, and from then you can learn to control and project yourself into places you've never seen or been before.
Uh-huh.
You see, so that's what the candle
Yeah.
training's about. And you have to start
Okay.
small. You can't snap your fingers and make great trips and stuff like that
All
until you
right.
train it, or you have someone there to guide you, because there are
Mm-hmm.
people who can literally pull your astral travel and help you astral travel somewhere. That's something
Yeah.
really great about this community I want, because people who want to experience astral travel, they could experience it with a guide and evade many of the pitfalls that come with it. See, some of this stuff can be downright dangerous if you do it wrong. Okay,
Oh
and that's
yeah.
and that's
And
why
that's what scares me. Yeah.
experienced people are sometimes better. Like I had to learn all this stuff the hard way, if you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
why? And the reason I got into studying paranormal stuff is I was born different. Okay, literally, I could perceive
Mm-hmm.
energy. I could see feel people's emotions, and when I touched and shook their hand, I'd sometimes get a download of what they were thinking and what secrets they were trying to hide. For some reason, the mind, when you push your secrets to the back of your mind and you say, "Don't say it, don't say it." As soon as you touch somebody, it's like a slingshot. You've downloaded everything you didn't want to tell everyone into. So that's how telepathy worked for me. I seemed to get all the stuff they didn't want to talk about, and they were saying in their mind, "Don't tell anyone, don't think about it, don't think about it," and bang, I'm like out.
Yeah.
So I learned all kinds of things about people. I learned not to judge people unless they were really, really evil. But thankfully, I could feel that and would steer clear of them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And Olga, I have a question for you. Do you still have contacts in Russia?
Um, yeah, my parents still there, my sister there. Those are the only people I really talk to.
Well,
But
if
my family kind of broke apart, and my family still talk to them at some, some part.
okay,
But
Olga, what I'm
yeah,
looking for is I'm looking for some connection to the Russians did some. I don't know if you heard of the psychonaut experiments. Um,
no,
the Russians government, the KG, I think it was the KGB. Forgive me if I'm getting it all mixed up
yeah,
here. They
KGB.
did experiments on something called psychonauts, and they built something called a psychotronic engine. Now I know one of the psychotronic engines was up for sale on the black market in 2000, and it sold for $128,000. Well, I didn't have that kind of money to.
What?
Yeah, I didn't have that kind of money to buy it. But what I'm looking for is I would like to know if anyone can get me the plans for their psychotronic engine, because I developed my own type of psychotronic engine, and I told Chat last video that time I was on audio how to make one,
Mm-hmm.
because I use them for they're like a psychic battery. They can also up your
Mm-hmm.
psychic energy. So if you're let's say I developed a class system for psychics, okay? So let's say you're a class
Mm-hmm.
1, and using this battery you can up yourself to a class 2. If you're a class 4, it ain't going to give you much difference other than it'll help relieve some of your psionic fatigue, because it gives some
Mm-hmm.
psionic energy back. Um, but for people who are lower than class 4, the current devices I built are would be just magnifique for them. It raise them levels of awareness, and it'd bring them closer to their desired state. The only problem is, don't use them if you're prone to depression, because the moment you get depressed, thoughts can kill, and they probably will in Wars Without Frontiers. Ever heard that song? Well, if you get depressed and you make anything higher than a class 4 status,
Mm-hmm.
you could accidentally kill yourself with a bad thought.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
Man, I'm
and
trying to Google that thing right now, and
psychotronic engine they're called. Russia have
psychotronic.
yeah. Russia is the one who invented them, and United States started something called Project Stargate as an attempt to counter the Russians' psychic research. And I have a
Uh-huh.
book from the Psychic Warrior in my collection, and he showed this scene where the sky peels back and it reveals another world. Literally looks like the sky was literally opening up like a blind. In his book,
Mm-hmm.
he draws a picture of it. And the scary part was, at the same time he experienced that, I was in northern Canada, and I'd gone 3 days without sleep, and I look at the sky and I saw the exact same thing he drew in his book. Exactly. At the
Oh
exact
my
time he
goodness.
saw it, at the exact time, we both saw the same thing, yet he was in the United States and I was in northern Canada. And we both
Mm-hmm.
saw the exact same thing, and it only lasted for a short moment. But I'd gone
Mm-hmm.
3 days without sleep, and I thought, oh, maybe it's just the fact that I went 3 days without sleep. So I shoved it off, but I remembered the image. I even drew a
Mm-hmm.
rough sketch of it. And sure enough, he has the exact same sketch.
Wow.
Yeah. Imagine when I read that book, I was like, I almost dropped it. You know what I mean? That's scientific proof that psychic visions and psychic phenomena are real right there. The fact that we
Mm-hmm.
both had the exact same, saw the exact same thing at the exact same time, and he was in somewhere in Colorado or California. I don't know. He's somewhere in the United States. That's all I know.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was in northern Saskatchewan, and I saw the exact same thing. Now you know where I live, northern Saskatchewan.
That's crazy. Have you heard about this experiment with monkeys, where they had monkeys in one place, like in Africa, and then the monkeys somewhere else in a totally different continent, and and they
Washing
trained one
potatoes.
monkey. They
Yes.
trained one monkey how to, like, open banana, and then the other monkey just started opening banana like that too.
It was the washing potatoes experiment you're talking about. One island, they trained them how to wash potatoes, and another island, after it hits critical mass,
Uh-huh. Ah,
they
okay.
discovered that the other island started washing potatoes, but no, without being trained. However, there's a slight delay, and it's
Mm-hmm.
possible that one of the monkeys in that group that was trained to wash potatoes died, and so it's either a proof of reincarnation or proof of shared consciousness. They're not
Yeah.
exactly sure which,
Yeah.
but that's really big eye opener. If it's proof of shared consciousness or proof of reincarnation, they're both pretty big things. What's your
Mm-hmm.
take on that, Rick?
Absolutely. Um, I'm over here trying to keep up with the chat, and they're.
What a,
I'm multitasking the hell over here. But yeah, that's um, pretty damn
what is
amazing.
Rick? What's chat saying? Because I can't see because my keyboard
Yeah,
quit
right?
working.
Yeah, it's mostly it's on Rumble, so it don't come through, and it won't come through Riverside, whatever. But they're really enjoying it. We got a good group over there on Rumble. We got a few. We got a good group over there on YouTube. The chat's a little more active. Is a lot more active on Rumble, but it usually is. Um, Rumble's always more rumbling.
Well, I missed the chat. They're so lively to chat with. It's just that I can't see them right now because first my keyboard was working, my headset was working. I thought, oh great, everything's working fine. And then I hit the mute button on my mic on my headset, and then all of a sudden I hear a bleep bleep bleep, bleep and the keyboard quit working.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the chat a little bit. I was telling them. I guess some of them hadn't heard about. I think we talked about last time you were on here, where I had that dream or whatever I did, where I was traveling and I told somebody, I was like, look, I need to lay down. I need to get me some rest. And as soon as I went to sleep there, I woke up here and was looking around like instant, sit up my bed like Undertaker in the WWE, just sat straight up
Yeah.
and I normally don't wake up that quick. I'm not a quick waking upper unless I'm running but late, waiting for work or something. I don't jump up. I'm kind of slow and methodical, but they're in the chat doing really well and telling stories and um, really enjoying the content.
Did you know that sometimes we can see the life of other people in other dimensions through their eyes as if it was us? And for example, I one time went to sleep, and here I was, this animal, and I looked up and I noticed the moon was different. And I looked down and I realized my foot was caught in a trap, and I got it out of the trap, and I'm like, ow, ow. And as I limp away, I was like, ow, ow. And as this creature, I limp away, and then all of a sudden I return back to my body, and I get in bed. I get up in bed, grabbing my foot, going, ow, ow, and here I had the mark of the trap on my foot.
Mm.
Wow, yeah. Well, I've had, as I've talked about before on the show here, I've been to alternate parallel universes with versions of my own family,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then I know there were versions of them because in at least a couple of cases that I had siblings, well, they were half siblings that I do not have here.
Yeah.
So, and in one case, well, I found myself in a house where my dad and my former stepmom used to live, and I would visit, and it was my dad was there, and there were other people there in the family, but they were family. I could feel it, but I didn't recognize them. And my dad was talking about people that I didn't know here, but I seemed to know there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there was one of the few negative experiences with that whole phenomenon. I found myself in that house, and my dad and my brother-in-law were both there, and they actually attacked me. They came after me, and I ran out of the house. And
Mm-hmm.
luckily, not after a little while there, I woke up here again. So
So
there's something to that. There's these other places, other versions of here or of life that I've experienced.
would you like to take it to the next level?
No.
Because here's what the next level is. Remember how I said our plane that we live on, our realm we live on, is like layers of onions, and our reality is one layer of that onion skin, and each in that layer there are an infinite number of these little cells, and each of those cells are different realities that you talked about, you've actually experienced. And one of the things that I've learned to do is reach out, I guess you could say telepathically to my other minds, and then begin to think collectively. So it's not just me. The reason I picked this date is this is when I resonate best with those. So it's not just me you're talking to. You're talking to a we, millions of other me, and all these other planes of existence. And many of us are having this exact same conversation with an exact like Ricky and another and that existence, but there are a few that aren't because something happened. Apparently, when Ricky was younger, he almost died in an accident, and he didn't survive it in that line. But here he is where he is alive. We get to have this joyous conversation.
I came close. Interesting
Yeah.
on that. I
I
came
don't
close
really want to
sometime.
do that. Yeah.
Rick, what happened to you when you said you almost came close?
Well, I've had a bunch of times. I don't blame you, James. I'm kind of on the same level because I've had the same. Um, like it's like he's visiting. It's like the same family but a different house, and or like my grandparents or something still alive. And like like I said, a different house, but the same people kind of thing. But when I was a baby, I had the I've told I don't know I've told this story sometimes on the channel, but it's been a while. The When I was right after I was born, um, they were in Memphis. They turned around and the nurse gave all the babies strep at that ward, and and all the babies, but me and one other actually passed away from getting strep. They had I still
Mm.
I don't know if I can still see them now to this day. I know when I was younger you could still see them. You probably can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Still see the scars from when they had the needles in my head. And my mom said she was holding me, and then they come and snatched her out of her arms, and I was there for intensive care for several weeks, and they didn't have to pay any
Mm-hmm.
doctor bills. They should have sued the hell out of the hospital, especially with the situation. But they were
Mhm.
happy I was still alive. But yeah, it's one of them things I've always been curious on too. Is like whatever happened to the other person. There's like no way for
Yeah.
me to ever find out unless I just circumstance I run into that person. You know
Ricky, there's
that.
one world. There's a few worlds where you didn't get the vaccine. And
Hmm.
in those worlds, you didn't develop your psychic awareness, and you're actually living a horribly miserable life in those worlds.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't
Sorry,
doubt
I'm
it.
like aware of all these worlds, and it's a blessing and a curse, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean. But at the same time, I can just look and see what your possible futures would be by looking at what happened there. And because you didn't develop the abilities, you didn't go down certain paths, you didn't do certain things, you had a regular job and ended up getting injured, losing your hand in one of the realities. And one of the realities, you're pretty heavy alcoholic and don't care about the rest of the stuff because you lost a hand at working. So,
Hmm. Well, I was
whereas
pretty
this,
bad alcoholic for a little while myself in this world.
yeah, but
Mhm.
that
But
world you didn't quit.
yeah, this one here I quit many years ago. So
Oh
thank you.
yeah, I have a little bit of that too. Like I wanted to talk to you all about this, like the life, right? We all given a choice, and
Hmm.
so between A and B, you so it's a destiny kind of thing. There is no such a thing as destiny.
No,
You build your own destiny.
there,
There's eternal amount of paths, and
correct.
whichever path you choose. Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about astral plane that has no time, no space, as the way we take it. Right, time is an element, but there is no such a thing. Pretty much, we're above that, like an astral plane, right? So everything is simultaneous. Past, present, future is simultaneous. Isn't that right?
Um, Not exactly. How it works is when the universe was created. Let's
Hmm.
use physics. There's matter and antimatter. The current thing they call matter, antimatter, should be called polaronic matter, because true
Uh-huh.
antimatter goes in the opposite direction of time. So
Hmm.
we were created with an X, Y, Z
Okay.
dimensions, whereas the antimatter went in an ABC dimension, and they're going backwards in time. So
Mm-hmm.
our future is their past, and their past is our future. But strangely
Okay.
enough, we always intersect at the now. I know that's
That's interesting.
confusing as heck, but our now is always intersecting. So if you could travel back in time, you wouldn't create a paradox like everyone talks about. But
Mhm.
it gets very, very complicated when you get into that.
Yeah. But yeah, what my point was that so pretty much if you have so many choices and every choice starts with A and B first, and then it's just like algorithm in if we're talking about human body and mind is a pretty much a computer is just a mini universe right there as human could create at this point.
Well, Olga, I'll give you an example. Some worlds are choices. Remember, I was telling you about those little cells, and some of those little tiny worlds are multi
Hmm.
choices. We won't even call them multiverses because they're not. They're multi choices. In some of them, one choice, we got a choice between A or B, and in some cases, we make both choices. Sometimes we only make one. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what causes these cells to bud off, but they bud off just like they do in an onion skin. But I'll give you an example. This guy parked his vehicle out in a certain area, and another car came and smashed the stupid strut holding up the big grain tank, and it fell on top of him, killing him and in his truck. And that's in one plane. And in this plane, the truck came and hit it, or was hit it, but somehow just managed to not knock it over. And this one person was saying, "Damn it, I wish he was dead." To this one, his friend, because they were fighting. And in the other one, his friend, other realm, his friend was saying, "Damn it, I wish he hadn't died." And so I was feeling really mischievous that day, so I literally switched their consciousnesses. So they both got what they wished for. So the friend in this realm was all of a sudden surprised to find out their friend hadn't been crushed, and the other one was surprised to find their friend had been crushed. So both choices it can exist at the same time. It's just, but not always. Sometimes we have a choice and only one is actually buds off or is made, whereas the other case, all choices are made. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what
I'm
causes the budding.
I'm sorry, I got disconnected, guys.
Oh yes, welcome
It's
back.
okay.
Thank you. My Wi-Fi is bad here. I had to take it off Wi-Fi.
I got Starlink. Woohoo! I love it.
So so yeah, about the choices we were talking about,
Uh,
I was just thinking like you were asking Ricky about, or what if you didn't do that, but in the other reality you did this. So pretty
right.
much your choices that could have happened, they highlighted that they exist.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
See,
This
in
is
one
just not what you chose at this point.
right. Let's give you another example. In one reality, Ricky moved his red mask under the lamp like I suggested to him. In this reality, he didn't. And the reality we removed it over, he's finding a greater harmony in his energy field around him. But in this one, he doesn't have the same harmony because he didn't listen to my advice.
Uh-huh.
But
I'm just giving
so
you an example of how reality, our choices make a difference. And literally, there is literally a bud in reality where Ricky made the choice and one he didn't. And I'm not sure. Like I said, we end up simultaneously in all of them. It's kind of
so
hard to explain.
so I've wondered that before. Like I was wondering, like I've had that thought in my head. I do have a question from the chat too. I gotta make sure I ask that in a second. But but I do wonder, in my head that I've thought about like, okay, here's major points in my life. Okay, if I'd done this, I would. I guarantee I would have gone this way. If or not guarantee, but I was to say I know this is major points in my life. Okay, if I stay here, like this job, or like if I moved, like for example, my parents, we lived in Guam when I was a kid, and then my great aunt got sick, so we came back. So if I'd stayed in Guam, of course, I wouldn't be over here teaching, doing what I'm doing now, because I'd be living in paradise. But I would be where I'm at. But um, though it's of course Guam has changed a lot since then. Oh, she lost her signal again. But I wondered that. So you're saying, even small, minute the decisions spring off different. There's different realities for even those, even small decisions throughout the day.
Correct. And if you want, I could actually look and see what happened to the. There's a realm where you didn't move because your aunt didn't get sick. And when I look at that way, your aunt ended up in that one reality. Your aunt ended up dying 10 years later. But after she won the lottery, and you inherited a lot while in Guam and are living in high life.
Be my luck.
Hmm.
So
What's up, Mr. Strange in the chat and Mr. Rippers? But yeah, also in the chat, I had a question real quick before I forget, because the time is coming. We still got time, but it's coming
mhm.
because Mr. Strange's show is dawning on us. I've been waiting to see if when it pops up in there, before I can send everybody to Rumble when it's time. But was wondering, like, if somebody was on the fence or wasn't really sure about what you're saying, is true. What ways of could we, tell or show that we, would show the stuff
Well,
that you're talking about, kind of thing?
well, this one person, when I was younger and I was just getting into it, this one person said they wanted absolute proof, and so I handed them a clothes hanger and I told them to hold it perfectly, and in their hand, and then I proceeded to with several feet away, cause the clothes hanger to start moving in their hand and literally twisting in their hand, and they dropped it and ran out of the room screaming. I've had other people that I've done that with go, wow, that is so cool. But that one person said that they were ready for absolute proof, and when the clothes hangers started twisting in their hands, they started running.
Hmm.
So the clothes hanger experiment is one way to show energy Like I have a strong enough energy field that I can literally meld metal with it, if you know what I'm saying. And so I'm willing to do that experiment for people who don't believe in this stuff with them. Or at least I used to be able to do it. I haven't done it in so many years. I don't know if I still can do it. But I've done it hundreds of times for people, and it scared the EBGBs out of two or three people. But most of the people were just, "Wow, that is so cool." The
I
other
bet.
thing is, if you really want to check it out, in the University of Saskatoon, and 1995, I was there, and OJ was being chased, and they asked me how the trial was going to go, and I told them it doesn't work that way. I have to have a vision. That night, I had a vision, and I told everyone there'd be two trials. First one, he'd be found innocent. Second one, he'd be found guilty. And they had this law student explain to me that that can't happen because of double jeopardy. And I said, look, I don't understand how it happens. I just call it the way I see it. And that is in the university record because it actually made the newspaper. They were making fun of me. They even gave me a plastic ukulele as a Entertainer of the Year award. So if you don't believe my ability to see the future, it's right there. And secondly, you can read my book and you'll find that I made a bunch of predictions for 2000 for the COVID era, and I'm batting 100 on that so far. So it's all the proof is that's all the proof I can give you. The rest is up to you.
I understand that.
Ricky, there's something that I do want to talk about. Ever heard of the Mandela effect?
Yes, sir.
Do you know
Yeah.
what causes it?
I have my theories. Um, you
Okay,
know,
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what
I,
happened.
I'll say my theory was, I was thinking it's either CERN messing with us, or just like multiverse, like bleeding over, where we're seeing what's going on. It's
Okay,
such a slow connection, but
when your soul in one of those choices, remember those little cells on that little wall that I was telling about, dies, when all your soul dies, it disperses and comes to other worlds, the nearest world, or the nearest worlds around it. In that world, in the 80s, the world was blown up by nuclear war, so millions of souls around the world died. And so those souls then brought their memories across to this world. And the reason that war happened is because four British officers snuck in without permission and beat Nelson Mandela to death while he was in prison. So in that reality, he died in prison. And those people remember that incident because it caused the Great World War III then. And they carried that memories over with them to this world. And the only reason that I'm aware of it is, like I said, I did that crazy thing that James said he'd never do, is I connected my mind telepathically with all my other me's. Because I felt I wasn't smart enough.
Huh.
Does that explain it? And that's what I see how it happened. And
Yeah.
the people that don't remember it is because they were survivors of that war.
Interesting.
So that's why 90% of the or 80 to 90% of the population remembers that Mandela effect, dying, where some don't because they didn't die in the war. They survived in shelters and are surviving bitter lives to this day.
There's so many Mandela, like, just it's just interesting on it.
Yeah.
And it happens with other events as well. Like, it's not just that Mandela, that's just one example. There's other cells where people have died off. Like, you could die in a car crash and in that other realm, and then bang, you can remember pieces of it, but of that life, and go, well, that didn't happen here. You see, but it's because the memories came over.
Mm-hmm.
You see how
Hmm.
that happens? And it's kind of it's proof of, it's actually very good absolute proof that there's multi-choice verse around us.
So you pretty much talking about reincarnation right there.
No, no,
You
no.
can remember lives.
Well, I can remember living before, but what I'm saying is all people are, remember our choices that we made. We were talking about choices, sometimes the birth in one
Mm-hmm.
world, multi-choice world. There,
Mm-hmm.
Mandela was killed in jail by 4 British officers. And
Mm-hmm.
that caused an atomic World War III, which ended up in atomic worldwide destruction.
Mm-hmm.
80 to 90% of all human life was exterminated. And those souls then migrated over to this world and the worlds around them.
Okay.
And that's why so many people here remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison because of the 4 British officers beating the heck out of him.
Yeah.
And that's what caused the Great War that happened that got them killed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it's a very emotional event. It carried over. It carried over in their soul through death to this world, to the nearest soul that resonates with them. Because you see, our
Yeah.
soul is, your soul and all our souls are scattered across these multiverses, or multi choices,
Yeah.
I should say. They're not, the multiverse is something different. Sorry,
Yeah.
but all these multi choices, and as those multi choices are exterminated, it's kind of like the movie The One, I guess, is the best. I saw that movie and I
Uh-huh.
thought, no, that's close, but not quite. But it's kind of like that. Your souls combine and return to wherever source they can.
Hmm.
So
Do you
that's
get
why
Mm-hmm.
stronger when somebody passes away though? Like the one, I wonder, or
I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, I'm too busy thinking in all my others, and that I don't notice any strong changes. But I
I think I've had a couple of dreams, or I guess astral projections,
mhm.
exits, whatever. Yeah, I would say they were not just regular dreams where I remember some lives in the past.
Mhm. But
Yeah,
when
crazy dreams.
the multi choice
Mm.
isn't about our past lives; it's about our current lives and our current choices combining as
Yeah.
one. Past lives are a little bit different, but yeah, I was born with a pile of past life memories. Hey James, I haven't heard from you. What's your take on this?
Oh yeah, I don't have too much to say. I mean, everything you all are saying is interesting. The reason I haven't sort of I don't really want to take the whole experience to the next level, like you mentioned earlier, is it makes me wonder in that other world where I went to, and my my family basically attacked me. Is that version of me there the same way?
Well,
And so I don't want to deal with that version of me.
that's I understand your fear, because in order to do this, you pretty much have to let go of what self is. And a
Right.
lot of people hold on to the idea of self and are so protective of the idea of self, and they think the self is absolute. But in order to do this, you have to literally dissolve the concept of self and go for a we. We are all these choices. We are all these. It's not just my choice that creates these multi choice verses, it's other people's as well. So it's like I said, it's a heck of a lot of choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I this life is enough as it is. I don't need to be dealing with other lives.
I think the same way, James. Sometimes it's
That's
hard
kind of
though,
how I look at it.
and you're balancing out. But it is interesting when when, like I said, in a dream realm where you're actually getting to see. I think it is interesting. You see, different versions of yourself, multiverse, esque type thing. I th- it is interesting to see, but like actually being able to tap into it or really focus on it, I don't know.
Well,
I got enough issues in my head.
I only did it because I felt I wasn't smart enough because there were so many problems in physics and stuff I couldn't quite solve. So by linking my brain to all these other brains that were working on the problem, it became a lot easier to solve. And yet we still haven't solved all the problems. And yet Ricky's motto is anything is possible, and my motto is I try and make the impossible possible.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So Olga, what's
And
your take
Ricky,
on
have
this?
you ever had any astral experiences like that or anything?
I think so. I think I've had um, for a long time. I didn't know where to talk about some of this stuff until I like met the Trouble Minds family and James and Mike Strange and so many of the others, and then learning once I met them and hearing so like other people. I'm like, man, I felt that before or dealt that, and like I've even had where people came to me and was talking to me like I had a you know I had an ex come to me one time and was like, hey, look, and was talking to me and blah 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 and saying all that kind of crap. And I'm like, leave me alone. And
Hmm.
I was like, you made your choice. You got your choice. You made your decisions. Everything's there. You're supposedly getting everything you wanted. Leave me alone. And then I remember I woke up the next day and I don't know like if she really thought I was batshit crazy or what in the world. But I texted her. I was like, look, don't come to me in my dreams no more. Leave me alone. I'm I don't want no part of this. And
Oh, wow.
never heard anything, not a word, not a peep, anything from her after. And like so either she thought I was really crazy, or she,
Hmm.
either she did actually, um, astral travel to me and was trying to talk to me. I know I've had um, spirits do that in my sleep. Try to speak
Hmm.
to me in my through my dream world and stuff like that. I've had that happen to me a few times. Um, Lots of unique things like that's happened to me. I know I have some gifts. I'm not sure how to handle some of them sometimes, but um, yeah, it's yeah.
I know the feeling about not handling, being able to handle one's gifts. I spent my, that's why I got into the paranormal study. I guess is trying to learn how to handle them. I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I sit out and just
Yeah.
being able to talk,
Well,
having a
that's
place to
there's a
talk
lot
about it.
to.
Well, go ahead, James.
Yeah. No, there's a lot to. Even just with not trying to have any experiences, there is a lot I've learned over the years as far as I'm not as easily frightened anymore as I was the first few experiences, and that has been nice. Sort of when I have experiences, just paying attention to how they feel, if they feel positive or neutral or negative. The negative ones, luckily for me, have been very rare, like
Hmm.
only a few out of dozens. So, but I know that also everyone is different, and some people I've heard about they have one experience and they don't ever want to have another one,
Mm.
and I can understand that. I just never that was never an option for me. I was going to have others and still others, and things still happen here and there. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's I understand the fear. I do.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think it's all negative, just based on my own experiences and so many that I find in doing my research and everything. So I don't think it's all negative, but just like Hollywood wants to make it out to be. But I can understand. I do think the negative or at least the stuff that seems negative is out there, and it does happen sometimes.
Yeah, I'm
James,
with
when I
you,
was
James.
15,
I don't want
Hmm.
to. It's just whatever happens, happens. I don't try to push myself or put myself in positions, or I have enough stuff happening on my own without even trying.
Yeah.
James, when I was 15, I was on a ski slope and I met this old guy, and he told me that he was a really tall old guy, I should say, and he told me that he gave me the best advice about psychic energy. He said, conquer your fears before you delve into the paranormal, because conquering your fear is your most important thing. And I had a fear of heights, so I ended up spending several years working fire tower after I graduated just to get over my fear of heights. And I mean, my fear of heights was so bad, climbing the fire tower, my eyelids would hurt. That's how terribly afraid I was.
Mm,
But there's a scary part about this old guy. This old guy, he claimed he claimed to be from the future, and he told me that my visions would change the future state of humanity. And he said he fixed a time machine, a broken time machine by an ancient civilization found in Russia. And
Wow.
he claimed his name was Baron Trump, and he looked like an older version of Trump's son. And
Mm.
when I saw Trump's son, I did a double take, realizing, holy cow! Because at the time I met this guy, Trump's son hadn't been born yet.
oh wow.
And when I saw the Trump's son, I'm like, holy cow! They look so much alike. It was kind of scary how exact it was, and the exact same name. I talked about this on theminds.com a bit, and turns out Trump's son grew up to be a really tall guy, just like this old guy I met. And who would have known?
Hmm. Yeah.
So, like I said, this prediction stuff is batting 100, and this old guy turned out to live up to it, quite literally.
That's pretty wild for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a
So,
bunch of stuff about Barron Trump, and I like they had that book written back in the 1800s, had it with him, and I don't know. It's some interesting uh, things that things that make you go and wonder what is really going on in the world to
well,
me
Yeah.
sometimes.
I asked him why he couldn't travel to far back, and he said the time machine only lets him travel so far back because the further back you go, the more damage it does to the human body.
Mm.
Mm.
So there's a limit to how far they can travel and what they can do with it. And
Yeah.
what I understand about time is the universe is kind of like an elastic. The more changes you make to it, the more it snaps back.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
I've
Does that?
heard
Yeah.
that too. I
Yeah.
have. Yeah, I had to get, all the safety, precaution methods before I could even practice this kind of stuff. There was a guy who traveled, and he said that he got possessed by a demon, was whatever creature that was, that he made him forget how to breathe.
Oh yeah.
When he got back in his body, it's like he was a newborn baby who didn't know how to breathe anymore, and he had to learn over, like over again.
Wow.
And yeah, that was crazy to hear that he explained how he had to do it. Like it's like in your brain, it was just like how the new baby born. There's
Yep.
nothing in the brain for them. They just have to survive. They come out of
Mm-hmm.
that womb, and they just have to struggle and survive and breathe and know how to breathe. That's how
Mm-hmm.
he felt. Like he was a
Wow.
newborn. Yeah. And that was crazy.
You must have drunk some
But
of
yeah.
the celestial mother's soup in the in his travels. Supposed to make you forget everything.
Mm.
Yeah.
But oh, by the way, if that old guy was actually Baron Trump, he did say that Russia and the United States be developed a very strong alliance to deal with the world's greatest superpower, China. So apparently, China becomes the world's greatest superpower soon, according to him.
Wow.
And I mean the world's greatest.
Wow.
So that
I,
gives you something to think about.
yeah. They've
Yeah.
been having jokes about it in Russia. That, yeah. Uh, about what? 20 years ago. 20 years ago, when I still lived there, we had these comedy channels, and they've been talking about it all over, about
So,
China being the greatest,
hmm
empire in the world.
so at this way, soon we'll be calling you Conrad, right? Conrad, eh?
Well, they reproduce everywhere,
Uh,
too. Just think about it.
oh, I
they,
noticed.
they
Well, if
they they
they
go to
call in
Russia.
there, I was gonna
They
say if
don't
they call in
allow
some of their
that.
debts and stuff, they'll sure enough be if they start
Yeah,
acquiring land like they do. But
I think they only allow. Well, I don't know about now, but I think they only allowed them to have 2 kids per family. Was not true.
well,
That
they
was
I
a
think that they went up now
yeah.
because they're actually
Yeah,
because their population started dropping really bad
yeah. So
especially
what
because
they were doing, they were moving across the border to Russia and reproducing there.
Well,
oh wow.
China had a one-child policy for several years, and now they're reversing it to the point that they've banned all birth control, and they're actually encouraging young teens to get pregnant and offering great monetary rewards for large number of babies.
Oh
Mm,
wow. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
wow.
they talk about it like if you not to dig deep, it's the politics right at the very end. But they talk about like if you have two people and if you only have one baby, that means you got a 50% decline in population because you one person can't overcompensate for two. But I don't know. That'd be a good topic for a Wednesday night show.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Or James gets mad as. No, I'm playing.
That'd be a good one.
It'd be a good one for Wednesday.
No,
well,
it's fine.
Um,
I'm
I'm
kidding.
just talking facts, not politics. That's
oh,
what I
I
like
know,
to
I know.
do. And
I jest.
I know. And when I talk
But
about
Merlin, I was gonna say it's getting close. Troubled Minds
mm,
has a show. Let me I got it saved. The Highgate Vampire, the monster that wrote itself. That's what they'll be talking. Michael Strange and James and everybody else will be talking about in just a little bit.
mm,
Because I know James he'll be teleporting over there real soon.
when do they start? And you said a few minutes.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. So about 4 minutes. I'll send the Rumble chat that way. We will raid the Trouble Minds through Rumble. And if you're not on Rumble or YouTube, y'all check it out. They're on YouTube. Trouble Minds is on YouTube and Rumble and Twitch and all the other great places you want to listen to.
Well,
Um, and let me do one more. I was going to do one more. I was going to say appreciate y'all being here and this great discussion tonight. And I'm going to go on the um, how is it said here? Here's his website. Let me do this
hey,
here.
before we disconnect, can I tell everyone in chat to be sure to hit the thumbs up because
Oh
it
yeah,
really
yeah, of
helps
course.
everyone, and it also feeds my ego. I feel better. Just kidding.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go on the Greyhorn Pagans podcast next week and have a discussion. I'm not sure about what, but anything is possible. And they reached out and asked for me to come on there, so I'm gonna appear and we'll see how the discussion goes. I appreciate all the chat and everything. Uh, Merlin, you got any shout outs you want to do real quick before we hit our?
Just take a look at my book, folks, and hope you enjoy reading it. And maybe next time, if Ricky asks me to come on, I can answer questions about the book. That way the chat can then guide the chat and or the topics. And I hope you guys have found these dimensions that I visited interesting. And as for Olga's question, do I still have the ability? I know in university I'd used a small mirror and I opened it up till we saw another world on the side. And another person watching, because I did this for a bunch of people to witness, and they freaked out and said, "Close it, close it, close it."
You're
Wow.
gonna send me that candle technique thing.
Oh, it
Yeah.
just use a black candle and focus in on it. It's I talk about it in my book lightly. It's called groking.
Mm-hmm.
There's an old technique called groking where you literally dance in the flames, and they use it to help people get in touch with their flame energy, but it's not really used for that. That's kind of it's actually used as a spiritual projection mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
and they just misunderstood the mechanics of what they were trying to teach. But it lets you
Okay.
experience a type of form of where you're in your body and you're in another place at the same time, and that's linked to astral projection because you're in two places at once. And
Yeah.
later on, you can move your consciousness more into your projection and weaken your connection to your body a bit. That way, you still remain with your body, so you can return to it in a snap, but you can experience your astral projection that way by training your mind.
Okay. Is that
James?
true? I have one last question before you disconnect.
Okay.
One last question. Witches back in old times when they were sacrificed alive and burned alive, that was their hideout when they leave their body.
Well, during the witch burnings, not one real psychic witch
Well,
was ever
yeah, I'm
burnt.
not talking about
Uh,
people who were born alive not being witches, but I'm talking
no,
about real witches.
the real witches never ever got burnt at the stake. The people with real power never got burnt at the stake because they could literally fade into the shadows and leave the community. They knew when to leave. Uh, there was a thing called back then a group of people who were producing drugs. And they'd rub it on a broom handle, and they would let it soak in, and it gave them a feeling of high. And the
Mm-hmm.
church burnt a lot of those at the stake, so they were kind of burning drug addicts. They never actually caught real witches, or I should
Okay.
say druids. The real witches were left over from the druidic era, and
Mm-hmm.
they called them witches, but they were really actually left over from the druids who actually had power. So the witch burnings never ever got anyone with real power. They only got drug addicts, and it's kind of
Okay.
sad, but it's just what happened.
Hey
Mm-hmm.
James, James, you got anything you want to say real quick? And then I'm gonna have to hit the outro here. Sorry about to cut you off there, Merlin.
No problem.
Yeah, just yeah. Well, thank you all. Thanks for the great conversation, and yeah. Just if you want to hear more of me, I have my own podcast, Salcedo Paranormal. Should be having a guest on soon. Should be coming out in a week or so. Soraya, it'll be Soraya of Where Did the Road Go? Is going to be a guest to talk about his experiences on my show. So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you, Ricky, as always, and everyone take care.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, the link is in the
Thanks, Rick.
description for James, and man, I appreciate y'all being here. And like I said, I try not to step on troubled minds and Mike's toes and stuff on Sundays because he was doing shows here on Sundays first. So, but I appreciate y'all being here, and we'll hit this outro, and I said we'll go raid troubled minds, and you'll learn some more stuff. Appreciate y'all being here.
Thank you so much, y'all. I
It was,
appreciate you.
Oh, no
it was a
problem. Thank
pleasure
you.
being here, and everyone check out my book on Amazon. Look out for Marlon Lacert, and you'll see all my books there.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
The links are in the. I put the link in the chat so for the book.
Yeah.
So y'all check that out, and I sent you a link. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was a great experience.
Awesome.
That was fucking awesome.
It was. Take care, people.
Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother. Don't like those RFIDs. Got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I got the blues about my freedom. got the blues about tyranny. I sat down with Big Brother and the national ID. Don't want a chip in my wallet, chip in my car. And if I want to travel, it's nobody's business how far. Don't want no shackles, don't want no shackles on me. I said shame on Big Brother, always tracking and tracing me. Don't want a chip in my mother, chip in my wife, a chip in my babies. Stay out of our life. Don't want no shackles, don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother, no more slavery. Play it for me, baby. Now, do you want a chip in your forehead, a chip in your arm, always tweaking your brain and causing you harm? Don't want no shackles, don't want no shackles on me. I sit down with Big Brother in the good old USA. I sat down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. Don't want a spot chip in me. Everybody, I sat down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. It's all about liberty.